Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel News X USA. Please subscribe and like my videos. Today we're going to explore a very serious development under the title Panic in Russia. Ukraine targets Moscow's business hub. What's happening is a major escalation. Moscow's business district, and by extension, the economic heart of the Russian capital, is facing strikes, or at least credible threats, from Ukraine's long-range attacks. I'll walk you through the exterior context, what's happening on the surface, interior, what's happening behind the scenes in the system, in the business hub, performance, how well Russia is coping or failing to cope, safety features, how protected are key assets, how vulnerable, unique selling points, in this case, strategic advantages or weaknesses, price, the cost, economic and human, and then wrap up with a conclusion of what it all means. Let's dive in. First, the exterior picture. On the surface, we are seeing Ukraine stepping up its campaign of attacks directed not just at the front lines or easily accessible targets, but into Russia, into the Moscow region. According to recent reporting, Ukraine launched drone strikes targeting Russian energy infrastructure. For example, on October 29, 2025, Ukraine targeted several Russian energy sites, including over 11 regions and the Moscow region, according to Reuters. What this means is that Moscow's outward image of being safe, stable, secure is now under serious threat. The business hub, offices, commerce, high-value assets are no longer immune. Visually, you can imagine high-rise towers in Moscow, clusters of corporate offices, business districts like the CBD area in Moscow, perhaps the Moscow city skyline, being under threat from drone or missile attack. This external pressure shakes confidence, particularly among investors, businesses, and foreign companies operating in Russia. The message is, the war is no longer just in Ukraine. It is physically and economically reaching into Russia's capital, thereby potentially disrupting business operations, supply chains, logistics, investor sentiment, and more. Next, the interior view, and this is the big segment of our discussion today. By interior, I mean what's happening inside the system, inside Moscow's business hub, inside its economy, its flow of capital, its infrastructure, its energy supply, its business facilities, its decision-making, how companies are reacting, how risk is being assessed. Inside Moscow's business ecosystem, you have a concentration of high-value buildings, corporate offices, commercial real estate, service sectors, finance, insurance, logistics. These are held up by multiple pillars: steady electricity supply, secure transportation, connectivity, IT networks, safe access for foreign and domestic workers, and a sense of stability that underpins business investment decisions. When a business hub becomes vulnerable to external attack, drones, missiles, sabotage of energy or transport, each of those pillars is under threat. For instance, if energy infrastructure is targeted or damaged, that may lead to power outages or interruptions which directly impact corporate offices, server farms, data centers, financial trading floors, etc. If transportation, airports, roads, rail is disrupted, the ability to move goods, employees, clients is impacted. If foreign investors perceive elevated risk, capital flight or delayed decision-making may follow. Inside Moscow's business hub, the decision-makers, CEOs, CFOs, real estate owners, must now reassess risk. Insurance premiums go up, security costs go up, possibly rental or leasing terms change. Moreover, the interior dynamic also includes the psychological dimension. Employees may feel less safe, turnover may increase, some companies may relocate, business centers may see decreased demand for premium office space. Insurance companies may refuse coverage or raise rates. Banking and finance may reprice risk and tighten credit for entities in high-risk zones. The cumulative effect is a worsening of the business climate inside Moscow's hub and wider ripple effects to Russia's economy. In addition, there is the interior governmental or policy dimension. How does the Russian government respond? Do they increase air defense assets over Moscow, reinforce key infrastructures? Do they subsidize businesses to stay, provide guarantees? Or do they impose stricter controls, curfews, evacuation of foreign staff? All of that affects how interior business processes operate and how resilient the hub remains. Also consider supply chain interiors. Many foreign companies operating in Moscow rely on imports, logistics, safe warehousing, cross-border payments. Disruption of energy and transport means higher costs inside. Businesses may turn to contingency plans, changing routes, exporting less, shifting to non-Moscow regional offices, maybe moving operations abroad. This can reduce the centrality of Moscow's business hub over time if the interior environment becomes less stable. So when I say the interior is big, I mean that there are multiple layers: infrastructure, business operations, finance, human capital, security, government policy, all interlinked. And when one layer, for instance energy supply, is hit, the cascade spreads across the rest. For Russia, the interior challenge is that its business hub may not be as insulated as previously believed from a war that until recently was largely over the border in Ukraine. Now, business locals inside Moscow must account for the possibility of attack, disruption, reputational risk, and escalating cost of doing business. Also, the interior strength of Russia's business hub may be tested by sanctions, capital outflows, the relocation of multinationals, and by the durability of its infrastructure under threat. If business services shift or shrink, the business hub's vitality declines. So in summary, while externally you might see security fences, drone, intercept radars, and high-rise towers lit up at night, the interior reveals a network of risk, cost, and potential decline that is now being exposed in Moscow's premier business zone. Now let's talk about performance. How is Moscow's business hub performing under this pressure? Performance can be measured in several ways: continuity of business operations, stability of investment, occupancy of office space, capital flows, and confidence of business actors. From the available reports, Russia is defending and claims to intercept large numbers of drones and protect key infrastructure. For example, the Russian Defense Ministry said it destroyed about 100 Ukrainian drones overnight, including drones over the Moscow region. That suggests that Russia's air defense and security apparatus are still functioning at a capable level. However, performance is under strain. The fact that the Kiev side is launching strikes deep into Russia, including over Moscow's region, is a signal that Russia's defenses are being tested and may require costly reinforcement. Business performance in the hub is likely impacted. Companies may delay expansions, relocate staff, or reconsider Moscow as a safe regional base. We may not have full data yet, but the expectation is that the business hub's performance metrics will begin to show stress. Increased insurance premiums, higher vacancy rates in premium office space, fewer new leases, reduced foreign direct investment, more capital flight. In short, performance is mixed, operational for now, but facing rising headwinds and increasing vulnerability. The fact that Ukraine and other adversaries can project force into Moscow's business hub raises the risk profile for companies and investors, which over time will degrade performance. Let's move to safety features. What safeguards exist, and where are the vulnerabilities? For the business hub in Moscow, safety features include physical security, reinforced buildings, blast-resistant design, restricted access zones, cybersecurity given many business operations are digital, redundancy of power and data, insurance mechanisms, emergency response protocols, and government protection, police, military, air defense. On the energy and infrastructure side, Russia invests heavily